Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the Global Dawah Movement Show, the GDM show. Today's show is a unique show because we're addressing online atheism. Why are we doing this? It's because there are so many videos, so many misrepresentations of our own arguments and other theistic arguments online, and we felt that we should basically pick one YouTube channel, for example, and expose it for what it is. That it's basically feigning intellectual discourse and it's slandering others. And just because it has references and some kind of argumentation, it doesn't mean it's true. In actual fact, it's false and it's full of misrepresentations. Yes, we can't address everything because we don't have the time, and we hope our work will speak for itself. But we really want this show, or the intention behind this show, is for you to understand that, look, here's an example. There's some person faking intellectual mannerisms and having a so-called argument or an objection to our arguments, and he sounds clever, but yet he's been exposed to be false. And this is what we want from the show. Basically, it's a lamb to the slaughter from that perspective. We're exposing a particular atheist channel to really highlight the point that you don't take them seriously. You only take people seriously if they ask and they intend to learn. You only take people seriously if they don't slander. You only take people seriously if they want to have dialogue. Because this YouTube channel and this person in particular that we're going to be talking about actually has not contacted myself privately or personally via email or Facebook or other social media. And I'm quite accessible and hopefully quite approachable. So if someone wanted clarification on my premises or assumptions, then all that person had to do was ask. Just like the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon whom be peace, said, the cure to ignorance is to ask and learn. If you don't ask and learn, you're going to stay in a state of ignorance. So, I've written some notes here, so I do apologize that if this show doesn't have the same flow, but please bear with me. Now, brothers and sisters and friends, some atheist apologists who espouse the views online adopt some nasty strategies, and unfortunately they involve ridicule, mockery, and slander. Just go on YouTube or Facebook and search for atheist or atheism or God, and eventually you find a whole host of posts and videos that use vulgar language, disdain, sarcasm, derision, and jeering. One of the most sinister strategies, however, involves deliberate misrepresentations. By the way, I'm not saying that all atheists online adopt such strategies. In actual fact, some atheists have helped us a lot. They've helped us understand our own arguments, maybe. They have helped us understand where we've gone slightly wrong and where we need to improve. And I think we've done this. If you look at our history, considering the work that we've done online and offline, you will see that, inshallah, God willing, we've been sincere enough to basically change our arguments and continuously improve. But that has only happened if those atheists contacted us directly. They emailed us, or they sent us a comment, or whatever the case may be, and we've had this dialogue and interaction. That's the profound point. Anyway, brothers and sisters and friends, let me just highlight what we want to highlight now. Now, there is a certain YouTube channel called Essence of Thought, which is run by someone called Peter. I believe his second name is Thurston, Peter Thurston. And I want to use this YouTube channel as an example to show that you shouldn't take online atheists seriously, because many of them, what they do is they misrepresent our arguments and actually slander and actually don't have the right type of ethic, especially when it involves dialogue and discussion. Now, as I said, Essence of Thought is run by Peter Thurston, and his YouTube channel is focused on dealing with theistic and religious arguments. So, let's move on. The main point here is I want to highlight that he's called me a liar here because I explained that the academic Dr. Arif Ahmed got his probabilities in a twist. He's got his probabilities all wrong by conflating epistemic probability with mathematical probability. Watch the video. Okay, in a nutshell, what they're saying is this, is that you're saying that it's highly likely that there must be a designer for the universe based upon the constants and the laws in the universe. But you can't claim likelihood because they're assuming it's a mathematical likelihood, a mathematical probability. Because they're saying for it to be a mathematical probability, you need a probability distribution. How can you have that? You don't have another universe. You don't have other universes that you observe, so you can't even claim anything concerning mathematical probability. Therefore, just be quiet. There is no design because you can't even claim that it's so likely. Because the minute you say likely, you're assuming a mathematical probability. You can't have a maths probability in this case because we don't have another universe or set of universes. So, this is how we address the issue. Dr. Arif Ahmed, not just him but many others who he's taken this argument from, has conflated mathematical probability with epistemic probability. I know that's a big term.
Big words.
Yes.
Can you explain both of those?
So, we know what mathematical probability is. Epistemic probability is basically what you would say. Let me give you an example. It is highly likely that the dinosaurs were extinct because of a meteorite. This is not mathematical probability. It's an epistemic, a knowledge, a rational probability because it's based upon our background evidence. The evidence we have concerning the Earth, concerning the current science that we know, concerning other pieces of empirical evidence that we have at hand. And so we take that all on board and then we basically make a conclusion. And based on that evidence, we're saying this evidence supports hypothesis H. What's hypothesis H in this instance? That the dinosaurs were extinct via meteorite, right? Now, the first key objection that Peter raises is this. How do you know the universe could not exist in any other way? Now, if you just take that statement itself, it's misplaced because it doesn't make sense. But I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, how do you know there can't be another universe that permits life with different laws and different physical constants? That's what he's trying to imply. So he's basically saying that there is no fine-tuning. You can't claim that there's fine-tuning for the universe because there could, maybe, possibly, be another universe with a different set of laws and constants that can still permit life. That's his point. Well, I don't want to get into a huge academic discussion on the issue because I don't think one is necessary. But I want to highlight a certain point, which is many atheists and theists, atheist scientists and theistic scientists, people who believe in God and people who don't believe in God, many of these scientists say that there is fine-tuning. So who are you going to believe? Peter or the academics or the scientists? You make your own mind up. And let me just give you a list. The ones that believe that there is fine-tuning in the cosmos and the universe. These include Barrow, Carr, Carter, Davies, Dawkins, Deutsch, Ellis, Green, Guth, Harrison, Hawking, Lind, Page, Penrose, Polkinghorne, Rees, Sandage, don't know how to pronounce his name, I do apologize, Smolin, Susskind, Tegmark, Tipler, Vilenkin, Weinberg, Wheeler, and Wilczek. Now, obviously, they don't all follow through with our conclusions that fine-tuning implies design, but that's a different philosophical discussion, but they still believe in fine-tuning. Others, for example, say that there is a multiverse. Now, forget that for now, because we're going to address that in forthcoming shows, God willing, inshallah. But the main point here is there are academics, scientists, theists, they adopt a theistic position, atheists, they adopt an atheistic position, and they claim that there is fine-tuning of the laws and the physical constants. That's it. So there is fine-tuning. Now, Peter, on the other hand, would like to believe there is no fine-tuning. But you take your pick. Peter or all of these academics. Now, you may claim this is an argument from authority. Well, not all arguments from authority are false, because as Dr. Elizabeth Fricker, the epistemologist, she says, given my limitations of parametric, I can't know everything. I have to rely on an authority, for example. But I want to give you an example just to highlight that this is not just based on just authority alone. The example is concerning the strong nuclear force. Now, if the strong nuclear force was a long one rather than a short one, there would be no atoms. If there are no atoms, there would be no complex life. This is a simple fact in science. Now, I want to illustrate everything I've said so far concerning fine-tuning and Peter's objection with a powerful analogy. It's about a concrete slab. It takes around 670 pounds to break a concrete slab. However, according to Peter, 1 pound can break a concrete slab. It could be possible that 1 pound can break a concrete slab. Now, say I have only experienced a concrete slab breaking at 670 pounds. Does it mean it's unreasonable for me to believe that it will not break at 1 pound or even at 60 pounds? Do I have to experience all possible weights on a concrete slab before making that valid assumption? I think you get what I'm trying to say here. Now, given this data, and I'm going to mention more data later, why would Peter expect a life-permitting universe with a different set of laws and constants? Come on, man. Sorry for the colloquialisms. It denies what we currently know about these laws and constants, and frankly is an argument for ignorance. What's the ignorance? It is the ignorance of another life-permitting universe with different laws and constants. However, we have knowledge that this universe permits our existence, permits life under the current laws and under the current physical constants that we have been discussing and we're going to discuss. And if they were different, as scientists argue, there wouldn't be a universe that permits life. So the onus of proof is on Peter to show that under different laws and constants, there could be life. Just like with our previous example, he would have to prove that you can break a concrete slab with 1 pound of pressure or 60 pounds of pressure. The onus of proof is on Peter. Now, Peter's main point here is that he accuses me of lying because when I say that there is epistemic probability, I use it as some kind of veil to hide the kind of mathematical probability of the fine-tuning of the laws and constants of the universe. I'm sorry, but Peter, and by the way, my father's name is Peter, so I love that name, right? Peter is fundamentally wrong. But I will not stoop so low and call him a liar. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He assumes, brothers and sisters and friends, that the fine-tuning argument I adopt is based on a mathematical probability. His assumption is blatantly false. And if he emailed me or called the office or sent me messages on Facebook and Twitter, I would have responded. So there you go. Dialogue and discussion, Peter. So my recent online seminars, which are available online, use non-mathematical conceptions of fine-tuning. Let's educate Peter and educate ourselves. Now, there must have been exactly the right set of laws for life to exist. If these laws were different or even slightly changed, there would be no life. These physical laws include the law of gravity, the electromagnetic force, and the strong nuclear force. Let's start with the law of gravity. Now, gravity, as you know, is the force of attraction between masses. Okay, so gravity is the force of attraction between masses. If there was no gravity, there would be no stars, and there would be no planets. And therefore, there would be no life, because there would be no sustainable source of energy to facilitate life. And that's a decent, rational assumption to make. You need some form of solar energy to have any type of life, whether it's carbon or non-carbon life. Let's take the electromagnetic force into consideration. It's a unique force that affects everything with the universe. Some of its abilities include attracting and repelling charges. It's also responsible for giving things strength, shape, and hardness. Now, if there was no electromagnetic force, let's summarize it, EMF, there would be no atoms because there would be nothing to keep the electrons in orbit. If there were no atoms, there would be no life. Now, without the EMF, there wouldn't be anything to attract charges as well, which is responsible for chemical bonding. And without chemical bonding, you're not going to have any life. So from this perspective, you need the right set of laws in order to have a universe that permits our existence. Now let's move on to the physical constants. If any of these physical constants were different or even slightly changed, there would be no life. Let's take the gravitational constant as an example. Now the gravitational constant determines the strength of gravity between masses. Now, Professor Robin Collins, the academic, he argues that if the gravitational constant was increased by a relatively small part, and he states, even single-celled organisms would be crushed, and only planets less than around 100 feet in diameter can sustain life with our brain size. Such planets, however, could not contain an ecosystem to support life of our level of intelligence. So, everything we've just mentioned so far is not based on mathematical probability. It's based on epistemic probability. Now, what is mathematical probability? In a nutshell, mathematical probability is the number of ways event A can occur divided by the total number of possible outcomes. And none of the examples we just mentioned involves this type of probability. What we're saying is that if event A were different, there would be no life. There is a difference. So the fine-tuning of the physical laws and constants in the universe that I adopt, and many other academics adopt, not that I'm claiming to be an academic, of course, is not based on a mathematical type of probability. It's based on epistemic probability, as I discussed in the previous show. Now, Professor Robin Collins explains this quite well. He says, since some of the probabilities in the aforementioned examples involve singular, non-repeatable states of affairs, they are not based on statistical probabilities, nor arguably other non-epistemic probabilities. This is especially evident for the probabilities involved in the confirmation of atomic theory, since some of them involve claims about probabilities conditioned on the underlying structure and laws of the universe being different, e.g., for example, atoms not existing. As we said, you don't have any atoms, you won't have any life. So I hope we made the point quite clear that Essence of Thought, it's an interesting channel, feigns this intellectual mannerism and sometimes, frankly, rudeness, and tries to maybe, I don't know, be a form of a type of intellectual reincarnation of Hitchens, for example. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. And you're preaching to the converted, and we get many emails and comments that actually say that, you know, what you're doing is not right. You should just email us because we don't want to do these videos anymore. It's a waste of time just to expose the assumptions, your assumptions, or your assumptions about our assumptions. I don't want to do this. We need to move on in our dialogue and discussion. Send me an email, send us an email, Facebook us, go on social media. You've probably done it before with others. I can't claim that, you know, you've tried your best and no one's responded to you. Maybe you have tried your best. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. But me, I'm telling you, email me and we could have a discussion. I could show to you that actually your assumptions about my assumptions concerning fine-tuning was absolutely wrong, as we discussed. And I hope we've highlighted the point to the wider audience that basically just don't take these type of atheist apologists seriously. Slander, derision, calling people liars, you know, having false assumptions about people's valid assumptions. This is absolutely false. And that's why I think we should follow more of a humanistic, and I would even argue an Islamic ethic, which is just be nice and ask and learn. And yes, we've not been nice in the past, but we want to be nice. And that's a warm call to everybody, to all the online atheist apologists. Discuss with us. Because via discussion, we're going to basically connect in a far more greater way, and we'll improve our arguments. And we've shown through history we're willing to do that and change. There's no point just to basically reinforce crazy stereotypes about theists and atheists. Even in our courses we teach, don't talk to your judgment about a person, but talk to the person themselves. So from this perspective, I would argue that not only you, Peter, but everybody else should pick up the Quran and engage in something called tadabbur. Tadabbur is what you call ponder, reflect, be deep. Look at a particular verse when it concerns the alternation of the night and day, or when it points you towards empirical and non-empirical realities. And sit back, turn off your laptop, divorce your previous assumptions about religion and theism and divine books, and just reflect. And hopefully, I believe if someone is sincere, through this reflection, God will unlock their heart. As God says in the Quran, have they not pondered upon the Quran, or are there locks on their hearts? So if you ponder on this book, then maybe God will unlock your heart to receive His guidance and mercy. And that's what we want for everybody. So be nice, email us, call us at the office, or whatever you want. And I really hope we've made the point really clear. Engage, discuss, don't trust atheist apologists online if they use these crazy strategies of misrepresentation. And if I've sincerely misrepresented you, I do apologize, and we're willing to rectify anything we've done that's wrong, just like we've done in the past. Peace.